welcome to the latest episode of Wrestling Wednesdays. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to chat with someone who's very charismatic on the UK scene and has a very inspiring journey. The 21st century visionary himself, the intergalactic sex symbol, very charismatic, Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder, lovely to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Good, it's an absolute pleasure. I've been watching earlier a very exciting video that you put on Twitter from a comeback. Was it the last weekend? Your comeback?
Yeah, it was last Sunday for FTG wrestling in Ibstock. So that was my first match after 9 months. I think my last one before that was the beginning of August. So yeah, it was a long time coming.
Yeah, and tell you what a crowd reaction! You must have absolutely loved that.
Yeah, it always. I mean, I've been to a few shows previously, but obviously not wrestling. But and I had a really good reception. But yeah, that really blew me away. And it's one of those things that no matter how often it happens, like how often I watch it, it always brings a smile to my face. So it was nice to get that sort of pop when I came out.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously you deserve it. You've got a great relationship with that company and their fans, obviously, and
Yeah.
something we'll delve into. There's a couple of things that always tend to give me goosebumps, and they're like film trailers that are like probably the silliest films that most people wouldn't like, but I'm big action movie, Hollywood movies, they give me goosebumps. And crowd reactions to wrestlers. And
Mm.
watching that earlier, honestly, I got it went on the hairs. What did that feel like for you? Like first match back, the mentality going in. Did you, did it get you emotional?
Yeah, it was hard to obviously keep a lid on my emotions and like go out there and do what I needed to do. It's as I say, how no matter where I am and how often I hear it, that kind of reaction, it always gets to me because it's just been such a long journey since like everything I've gone through. So to be back in front of crowds and to get that reaction just by stepping through a curtain it's always emotional and it always chokes me up a little bit.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that is quite exciting when you get the chance to see you. Obviously, like I've mentioned to you personally, I've not seen you live yet, and I'm really looking forward to doing that because I just mainly just for your entrance, let alone your action in the ring. I just think it's very you get a great reaction. But um, I just wonder if we could touch base a bit on the challenges you've had over the last couple of years. Obviously, with
Yep, sure.
the injuries and obviously the horrible challenge of fighting against cancer. What was that like for you to have to, you'd starting off and doing really well, and then you have to take a real life check and take a step back. How did you cope?
It was difficult, like as you say, I was starting to hit my stride a bit. I was getting not more eyes on me. I was starting to get more bookings and more of a fan base going. And then obviously, I got the news that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was a real blow. It was completely unexpected as well. So it was just disappointing to have to stop where I was and put everything on hold while I obviously went through my treatment. Um, yeah, like I said, it was hard. I tried to stay as positive as I could. Like I'd try and help out. Well, obviously, like, help out promotions where I could, whether it's just retweeting shows or letting people know about shows upcoming and offering advice where I could to like upcoming wrestlers as well. I just tried to keep myself as busy as I could to distract myself from the fact that I wasn't going to be wrestling for a while. And yeah, no, I think it worked to a degree. I wasn't like overly upset or anything like that. It really helped me in all honesty.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, it sounds like you've got a real love for the industry, and that positive energy just helps kind of keep you mentally active. Oh, I don't envy what you've gone through at all. It's a real challenge, and then obviously the reactions from crowds. I know there was fundraisers. You also brought out some great merchandise. How was that reaction? Sort of really nice to support you around that and to see the amount of people that would reach out to you.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like you mentioned, obviously the merch and fundraising raised a lot of money for charity, which was really good to see. Like I wasn't expecting to raise that much, but again, I had to thank the crowds at FTGU Wrestling for their kind donations, and yeah, people reaching out, like people I've never spoke to or never met. literally just reaching out to send me their best wishes, and just give me some words of encouragement. It was just really like heartwarming, and honestly, it really helped because a lot of people have to fight this alone, or they don't have a lot of people they can turn to. But I just felt so lucky that I had a lot of people that were like backing me and supporting me. So it was really lovely.
Yeah, and I've just one last question on this, and then we will talk about your wrestling a bit more. How are you doing now?
Yeah, feeling really good. Feeling really healthy. Obviously, just trying to get my fitness back and
Yeah,
sort of a level that I was at before I had to stop, which is the challenge. But getting there slowly but surely. Um, but yeah, otherwise, just feeling good, feeling ready to crack on and get back to it.
cool. That's great to hear. I'm really excited about that. Obviously, we'll start touch base a little bit. Start with on FTGU because I think that's probably one of the companies you're most known for and had a lot of success with. Obviously, tag team champions with William Wild. What are those events like to work in, and why do you think you have such a relationship with the crowd there?
I've pretty much been there from day one. The school I train at is called From the Ground Up School of Wrestling, and FTG Wrestling is basically a show where people that train there can work in front of crowds and sort of like learn on the job basically. And yeah, I was literally on their first show. Shouldn't have even been on the show, but I got called up because someone had to pull out. And I've been on nearly every show since then. And yeah, obviously the crowd know who Chocolate Thunder is. That from the very beginning, that's where Chocolate Thunder was born. That's where he grew up, and that's where I learned the ropes and learned the character. So I think that's how they have such a good relationship with Chocolate Thunder because they've seen him grow up and like become who he is today. And yeah, like I say, it's the first place. It's the first place where I worked on shows and sort of
Mhm.
learned the ropes. So it'll always be special to me. It'll always be like a place close to my heart.
Yeah, and I was watching earlier. Uh, was this your first match when you ended up being on debut against the Invisible Man? Was that your first match in action?
So that was for Southwest Wrestling, I believe.
Right.
My first proper match was against Jim Diehard, and
Okay.
yeah, it was literally a squash match. So yeah, it's literally I just got thrown in there and just got beaten up. But yeah, it was a really good learning experience, and it sort of showed me like the level that I wanted to be at, and from there it was just working my way up, getting as many matches as I could, learning as much as I could, and training. Um, yeah, so yeah, that was my first match, and yeah, it as everyone says when they talk about their first match, it was bad. But not on Jim's part, it was on my part really. I was just very green, very nervous, and yeah, it wasn't. It was definitely not one of my best.
Well, I'm sure it's not as bad as you said. It's a great experience, isn't it? As well, just to kind of
Mm.
get out there and work a crowd and just tick it off your list. Um, the tag team you had with William Wild, I've got to ask about it. The connection you've got there, and obviously becoming tag team champions. What did that feel like, and why do you think the chemistry worked so well with your tag partner?
Yeah, it was a massive honor because, as I say, I think we were both not far into into our career. So for us to be given the belts and sort of carry them as long as we did, it was a huge honor, and I was really proud of that. With me and Will, obviously Will's been around he's been training for a long time and he's worked for a while as well, and I think we just connected because we had very similar characters. His was a bit more straight laced than mine, but I think it was almost an odd couple that kind of worked together because I was the flamboyant one, he was the mean bruiser, and we just played off each other really well. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to work with Will. Like I'll say, he's one of the most underrated workers in British wrestling today. Like I'll hang my hat on that.
We need to get a series of matches with you guys around the country, then, don't we? Really, either
Hmm.
as enemies or a tag team. Either way, it'd be great to see you guys. Um, Obviously, there's quite a lot of promotions you've been with, and things you've got booked coming up. I've got to ask about Wrestle Island. They seem a very energetic crowd to work in front of. How does that compare to your origins and then moving on to these other promotions? What was it like working for Wrestle Island?
So the crowd was pretty much the same as it was basically families and like young kids, and you had the odd few indie fans who wanted to see wrestling.
Yeah.
So in terms of crowd, quite similar. Um, in terms of promotion, like obviously Wrestle Island are just well known for having these creative and really out there sort of matches and stipulations. Like you never know what you're going to get when you turn up there, and sort of like some of the matches I've seen and been involved in I've never done anywhere else, and they've always been like really challenging. But yeah, it's just I always enjoy going there because, like I said, the crowd is like super hot, and the shows are like literally as watching them as a fan are just brilliant. Like absolutely, you can't complain about any Wrestle Island show that you go to because it's always there's something for everyone, and I always say that about Wrestle Island.
Yeah, and that seems to work well though, because you've got a very unique character as well. You know, it's a stylish name. You've got a very unique look when you come out, the way you dress, the way you act. It kind of goes hand in hand with their sort of crazy ideas and that. So is that something we're going to see more of going forward?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, like the people behind Wrestle Island always say they're big on characters and storylines rather than like moves and sort of technique stuff like that, like flips and dives and what have you. So I think that's what I bring to the table as well, just a bit of flamboyance and a bit of like eccentricity. So yeah, hopefully I can get down there more and start to make my mark a bit more as well.
And sort of elsewhere on the market, obviously there's guys like yourself, and then there's guys like Charles Crowley who are very personality based when they come to the ring. It's not just about the wrestling moves, like you say. It's they've got the whole character around it. Who would you be looking to hopefully work with? Is it guys like him, and who do you think you'd work well with?
Charles Crowley's one of them. I've always been a fan of his work, and like you say, his eccentricity and just the way he presents it. It's all about presentation. I'm very much the same. It's all about the presentation, how you present yourself to the crowd, and I think he does that really well. Gene Money is another person I love to work with. Big fan of his work. Been watching him ever since the early Resurgence days. So yeah, a huge fan of Gene Money. Um, I think there's a few of us. My mind always goes blank when people ask me this question. It annoys
No.
me. But yeah, I'd say RJ Singh as well.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
cool. Yeah.
being like one of the being a British Asian wrestler, um, being able to work RJ, who's probably one of the most well-known British Asian wrestlers in like the business. Um, it'd be like a big honor, and it's something I'd really look forward to.
And so I've got to ask a little bit about I don't always delve into how people got into wrestling, but I'm quite curious because you're a character, you've got a character around it.
Yeah.
Who sort of influenced you with that? Is it from when you were watching it growing up, or is it just an extension of I fancy like being this? You know, where did the character come around?
So I'd say it's a mix of both. Like when I grew up around the Attitude Era, so obviously big personalities, lots of promos, lots of talking. Um, so I think a part of it's that like I've always loved story. I've always been hooked by storylines and characters rather than like moves and like athleticism. So there's part of that, and part of also I think part of my personality. I used to say Chocolate Fun is my alter ego, but thinking about it a bit more, I think there's more of me in Chocolate Thunder than I first thought. I think it's just like you say, it's just parts of me dialed up to 11 or just pushed over the limit. So I'd say it's a mix of both, really, just influence and like personality dialed up massively.
Yeah, that's cool. It makes sense. It's why everyone resonates with you so well. You can just kind of there's a naturalness to you when you're working. So I think that's why why it really people really buy into you. Basically, they've got a couple of events coming up. Obviously with PCW as well. What are the matches you got coming up, and what are the storylines around them?
Yeah, so PEW this Saturday. It's a 8-man tag. It's 8 man, yeah, 8-man tag.
Wow.
uh, yeah, so it's going to be a lot of bodies involved. Again, it's my first match there since last year, so another comeback. Really looking forward to it. We've got a strong team going up against a strong team as well. The vegan Prescott, William Wild, who we
Yeah.
spoke about earlier. So we'll be working against him, and a couple of other guys as well. And then I've got Jason Joshua on my team, Adam Bolt, riding, and yeah, it's gonna be a cluster, but a good cluster.
Yeah. This is the Team Chocolate poster I saw earlier then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Brilliant.
yeah, Team Chocolate versus Team Vegan. And yeah, there's no way I'm letting a vegan beat me. No offense to vegans, but no, not happening today. And yeah, and then I've got FTGU wrestling at the end of the month in Braunston. Match hasn't been announced yet, but it's going to be a good one. I know it's going to be a good one. So keep your eyes peeled
Nice.
for and socials for me to let you know who I'm working.
Nice. And what sort of companies are you sort of? Have you got like a? Do you have like a hit list of people you want to try and get into this year, or is there anyone that you've been with before that you want to try and get? Now you're back from injury and you want to get back in with. Who would you ideally like to be working for the rest of this year?
Um, would like more shows with Resurgence. Obviously, I'm booked on one of their shows at the beginning of June, so yeah, hopefully get more with them. Or would love to go to for a few more promotions up in the Northwest as well.
Yeah.
Possibly like places like TNT, Infamous, um, places like that. Just to get my face around a bit more. Um, Obviously, progress is a long-term goal. Would love to grace doing there. Just to, I always say this is, but just to wrestle as much as I can, because I'm a strong believer in that every day is a school day, and you're constantly learning when you're in this business. So just being in the ring with people and just taking in different styles and different ways of working is just invaluable. So yeah, I just want to work as much as possible.
I've got to ask about your creativity as well. With everything is you've worked out a name to it. The Thunder Store. It's not just an online store. You've nicknamed it as well. How much thought do you put into all that side of things, and how fun is it when you are playing around with names?
Yeah, I mean, my day job is to be creative, so I think you've got to have a level of creativity if you're going to be a wrestler, because obviously you've got to plan matches out, you've got to think of spots, you've got to think of attire, you've got to think of your character, how you present yourself. Again, I'm all about presentation, and I'm a firm believer that if you invest in your gimmick, you will go much further than if you don't. You have to like believe in your gimmick and present yourself as best you can.
Mhm.
And like me being having a creative background definitely helps. It definitely helps me come up with things like the Thunder Store and the t-shirts and the merch. Um, so yeah, it's definitely helped me a lot, like with Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, and it works. Obviously, it's great. Obviously people buy into it. I think they look great designs, and I noticed obviously the glasses that you had, very Bret Hart esque, but they're lovely. They're like love heart shaped, weren't they?
Yeah, the purple heart shaped. I need to get some more actually because I'm completely sold out. But yeah, they're a good find, and
Yeah,
they're always a bestseller I find at shows.
yeah. You need to get the 2.0 ones out then. The
Yeah,
2023 Thunder glasses. They're
yeah,
great. Definitely. You'll see me wearing a pair if you do. Put it that way.
yeah.
I was going to ask about Lance Rivera. Was it PCW?
PW, I
PEW,
believe.
sorry, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So with PEW and Lance Rivera, was that tags again? What was it like working with? What was it like working with Lance?
Yeah, it was only the one match, unfortunately. As I've said, I think we've both said this to each other. We'd love to do more tags again. But yeah, it was great because obviously, again, Lance is another character, another gimmick who's very similar to me. They've got similar gimmicks and similar sort of opinions and philosophies on wrestling. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it because like I say, we were both very similar. We both same mindset. Really enjoyed the match, and I'd love to do more with him. Hopefully, I get that opportunity further down the line. But yeah, it was really enjoyable, and like I say, he's one of the hottest prospects in British wrestling today. So to be able to say I've been in a ring with him and work with him is like a real privilege.
Do you have a, obviously there's a lot of success you've had in tags, and obviously you can take on board things from that. But obviously your character delves really into a one-on-one storyline. How do you balance both, and what are your preferences between working with a tag or a group compared to getting the opportunity to do a singles match?
Um, I mean, I enjoy both. I mean, if I had to choose, I'd say singles. Um, I mean, I enjoy tag team wrestling. Like you say, I've done a lot um in my career of tag wrestling, but I don't know. I think it's just easy. It's just easier to sort of do your own thing,
Mhm.
which sounds selfish, but it is. I think it's just easy to do it. I mean, I don't mind it. Again, I don't mind doing tags. Don't get me wrong. I think I just prefer singles. Just um, but yeah. I mean, when I started, I was doing a lot of tag matches because obviously I was learning the ropes and
Yeah.
learning how to work. And then obviously as I got more experience, then I started doing singles matches. And I've done all sorts. I've done triple threats. I've done four ways. I've done a gauntlet match. I've done like rumbles, like you name it. Um, so I'd say I'm more comfortable in singles than tags by a thin margin, if
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
No, it does. I'm just always quite
Yeah,
curious as to
yeah,
how you balance them both. And like you mentioned, it's great to hear because the tags obviously give you an opportunity to just practice things and try things
yeah.
out and learn. But now you've got that, you've got a career, you've got a great name for yourself that's, that delves into it. I was going to ask a little bit about what it is you think you can, if a promoter was watching this and looking to maybe bring you on board, what is it about Chocolate Thunder having you on a show that can really bring an extra edge?
Just the uniqueness, if that's a word, of my character. Like you're not gonna get another person like me on another show. You're not gonna get a guy who wears a purple furry jacket, a cowboy hat, and purple heart sunglasses, and just entertains the crowd as much as I do. That's my selling point. Just you one of a kind, unique. Gets the crowd on their feet, even if I'm a heel or a blue eye. That's what I do, and yeah, I'm a firm believer in like entertaining a crowd as well, like whether it be through comedy or like working. Um, that's what I bring to the table, and I think that's why, I'm uh, that's what people would get when they book me.
Yeah, I've got a question to ask about characters in, especially in the UK. It kind of feels that there's a few, but not loads. A lot of people, are trained in a certain style. Um, do you think it's a sort of an art form that it takes a lot of learning, or do you think it's a case of it has to feel more natural if you are going to attempt to portray a character like yourself?
I think it has to feel more natural because I think the crowd are quite smart nowadays. They can tell if you're not believing what you're saying or what you're doing. And it's hard if it's especially hard for the work as well. If you're trying to play a character deep down you're not, then it's difficult. Like, um, so I guess that's why it's dying a little bit because people just want to go out there and wrestle and don't want to have to worry about how they present themselves or what they say or what they do. Um, it is an art form, I would say, like, and that's what I think that's probably why it's kind of dying out a little bit because people find it a bit more difficult now to sort of play a character in front of a crowd, which is a shame, really, because it's what I grew up watching, and I think a lot of people did as well, like back in the Attitude and the Superstar era. When you had people like Macho Man Randy Savage and like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, big, larger than life characters, and now it seems to be going the opposite way. It's sort of they've sort of diluted it a little bit. So yeah, I think it is in some ways a dying art form.
Yeah, but you've got lovely star power, so it's great when it is done the way that you do it, where you can tell you really care about being that character, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably why it works, and that's why it probably always worked. But yeah, it's a shame that it feels like there's a little bit missing at the moment. But hopefully you'll be part of the crew that brings that back in full force. Obviously, I'll put the links underneath the video on YouTube where people can obviously find you and follow you. But do you want to just let people know the best way to get in contact with yourself, and obviously the Thunder store itself?
Yep. So I'm on Facebook. You type in Chocolate Thunder Wrestler, and my name should pop up with my picture. Twitter and Instagram is Chocky_Thunder. So you can follow me on there, see all my posts and what have you. The website for my merch is Choc Merch. I'm going to be really bad now and look it up because it's been a while since I've been on chockstore.bigcartel.com. And yeah, you can buy my t-shirts, hoodies. I think I've got some promo pictures left. I'm all out of sunglasses, but I will be restocking very soon. So I will put out on my socials when I got some more in. But yeah, that's where you can follow me and buy my merch.
Yeah, and they're great t-shirts. I do like the look of them, so I'll have to make sure I'm sporting one very soon for you. And this obviously, like we mentioned already, if people want to come and see you live this month, it's this Saturday for PEW, and then
Yeah,
obviously a match at the end of the month on the 28th for FTGU.
yeah.
I'll put those links on there as well. But obviously, it'd be great if people get to come and see you live and can support you in action. And obviously, I'm going to look forward to doing that soon. Is there anything else you would like to discuss or promote while we got the chance?
Yeah, just I know I mentioned I'm at Resurgence. Yeah, so I'm at Wrestling Resurgence on the 3rd of June at the Y Theatre in Leicester as well. So yeah, if you want to head down there, you can see me there as well.
Brilliant. Look forward to it. That's really exciting. I really appreciate your time tonight. It would be great to, when I get the chance to come and see you, maybe do something in person
Yeah.
and delve into one of your storylines in a bit more detail. I think it's a very interesting career you're building. It's fantastic to have you back in action, and it's very inspiring how you've battled through the last few years and still have the desire to put on a show for people like myself who are just wrestling fans that care about you guys. So thank you for fighting, and really excited to have you back. And if anyone who hasn't seen it, go on the Twitter account and watch that video of that pop from the weekend. It's a fantastic reaction, and it'll make you want to go and see Mr. Thunder live in person. But thank you very much for your time, sir.
Yeah, Fano, thank you very much for your kind words and thank you for having me on.